All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this Channel Vision Magazine webinar featuring APX Net. We're going to discuss finding dedicated internet access in the country of Canada. I'm your host, Brady Hicks with Channel Vision Magazine. And today, the gentleman you see right before you is Jeff Wood. Jeff is the president of sales with APX Net and has more than 25 years of telecom experience. Under Jeff's direction, APX Net was an early partner with the cable companies and local exchange carriers, combining the benefits of their networks while removing many of the challenges that may go along with them. APX Net has built some of the most advanced fiber optic networks spanning the US and Canada and continues to give the kind of personal service that many say can only help to build client loyalty. We'll be fielding your questions at the end of the presentation. So, Jeff, how you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having us on today.
Jeff, I'm very excited, and I've heard it said that APX Net is the best kept secret in the channel. I'm sure you're about to tell us all why.
I thank everyone for joining us here today. A quick overview of the topics we'll be covering. APXNet, who we are, a quick overview, a little bit about our billing and NOC, Canadian requirements that APX has and tariff up in the territories, our partners, some network maps, a couple of case studies, how to really source fiber up in Canada, and then maybe any questions or summaries at the end that we can review. Starting off, many of you might know who APX is, many of you might not. APXNet, we are a data-only provider. We're an aggregator. We focus on dedicated services. We want our services to be over fiber optics, and we only provision type 1 circuits. And we'll dive into what a type 1 definition is with us. But if it's dedicated, if it's fiber, if it's type 1, those are the most reliable circuits in this industry and deliver the greatest uptime and performance for the end client. We do offer some broadband services, more to back up a fiber circuit if needed, or if there's one or two off locations that need it. Part of a bigger project, we will provision broadband, but it's not a standalone product that we're focusing on. Our market is really that medium, large, and enterprise client. We are focusing on customer service to this clientele market that has been underserved in this industry for a long time now. Our customers seem to find us, and they have a little bit more larger and a little bit more complex network, that they're truly looking for a solution. They're looking for a partner, just not, the cheapest price on the block of the day. We have a lot of customers and clients who can never be without connectivity, and that can be from an SD device, SD internet, SD WAN. It might be redundant fibers in and out of a building, in and out of a town, in and out of a territory, or how that fiber comes back into the States. We are a licensed utility in the States and up in Canada, and it took a lot of work to get that regulatory approval, and we'll talk about that a little bit more today. And for those who don't know, APX is a very channel-focused organization. We really focus in on building a win-win relationship with the partners that we work with, really looking at a network as a whole and how to deliver a full service to that end client. Our services, what we offer dedicated internet. Probably 75% of our sales a month are dedicated internet. That's DIA over fiber type 1 connection. In Canada especially, SD internet is a very popular product where they're bundling two different circuits from two different service providers with a box doing the load balancing and the other capabilities of SD internet. They're a little bit further ahead up there than we are with our SD strategies for a single site or internet, more than just an SD WAN device. Private lines, still point to point, a lot of connectivities between the States and Canada, and a lot of Canada locations that are needing to connect back to AWS, Azure, and the large data centers across the US. Wide area networks, a lot of incorporation. We can still do an SD-WAN, which is really the hot topic these days to talk about, a layer 2 Ethernet or a layer 3 MPLS, and incorporate those into US sites. From 10 megs up to 100 gigabytes, just tell us really the speed that your end client is looking for, and we will provide that internet or bandwidth to them. A lot of last mile and long haul planning. Not only is it really leaving the building, in these territories, there might be only 1 or 2 paths out of a town. But then if it's a connectivity down to the States, how can we build diverse routes, maybe through Chicago, Toronto, Seattle, really moving that traffic for diversity. So we only provision type 1 circuits here. It's a decision we made about 8 years ago because we really want to deliver the best product and service to that client. So with a type 1 environment, what we're talking about is that last mile provider is also the ISP. We would never use 2 different carriers. Now here in the States, let's just say AT&T with a Lumen last mile or Comcast with an AT&T. Once you add 2 carriers in, that's a type 2, 3 carriers, type 3, type 4, etc. We only provision type 1 DIA circuits. Our install is going to be a lot faster for your end client. Our average install is around 30 to 40 days. Sometimes in a type 2, you could be talking closer to 6 months to get 2 carriers to get everything lined up to hand off to that end client. When there's 1 last mile and 1 ISP, it's 1 network. It's really 1 point of failure. Once you start adding in other carriers, you're building more points of failure. You have to get back to a carrier hotel. You're going to have an NNI in place. You have to have a cross connect at the data center, and that's a third party. You're really just building more points of failure, more points of disappointment for that end client that you have probably recommended that carrier to that end client. Latency, not only is it larger latency jumping between 2 networks, but you also have to jump back distance to get to those NNIs. You're adding latency, and our clients fight latency every day. They want the lowest latency product that they can get. And as we're leaving Canada and coming down into the States, it's even more important to try to reduce as much latency as possible. Higher SLAs. We have an SLA on the whole circuit. Major carriers would only give an SLA on their circuit side, but not on the type 2 side. And like a carrier like AT&T, it voids the whole circuit SLA if there's a type 2 environment in place. We're going to provide a full SLA on the full circuit for that end client. And these things are so much more reliable. Type 1 stays up. I would say the majority of our clients have never called in on a trouble on their circuits. But when there is an issue, and there is, it's man-made stuff. We know exactly who needs to fix it, and we eliminate the finger-pointing game that AT&T is blaming Verizon, or Verizon is blaming Comcast, and there's nothing they can do. We eliminate that for our NOC, for the end client, and it really moves that process a lot faster, and with only 1 point of failure, it really just doesn't go down as much. Our invoice. Now we're an organization that has invested extremely into our database, into our invoicing. And what makes us a little bit more unique is when a client signs up with us, you bring a client to us. We're going to have a very technical call within 24 hours. But we're also going to have a call with their accounting department within 24 hours. How can we set up this invoice for you? 10 sites, 50 sites, 100 sites, whatever it may be. Do you want it alphabetically? Do you want it geographically? Do you have job codes? How can we generate an invoice that's going to work with your accounting department and make it easier on them? Once an invoice is generated, we mandate a first invoice review. And it's part of the client service team's responsibility is to review that first invoice with the client. We want them to understand that this is a little bit different of an experience and that we do care, and we want to make sure what's on their agreement is showing up on their invoice. And if any changes they need to it, let's make it right there and then. And then every month when that invoice is generated for that client, The client service team here reviews it before sending it out to the customer. There are truly human eyes on all of our invoices before they go out to the customer. We have multiple cycles throughout the month, so they're constantly doing this, almost daily reviewing invoices before they're going out. We invest so we don't have to pay the price and time down the road. There's nothing more frustrating for an agent than trying to fight with a carrier to get credits owed their customer. There's nothing more frustrating to a customer than seeing charges on the invoice that shouldn't belong there when they took a recommendation from a partner of theirs or an agent or an IT VAR. We want to eliminate that. We don't want our team wasting any time. We don't want to be issuing credits that throw off the books. We eliminate work for our agents post-sale, long and short. Our NOC 24/7, it's here in the States. We handle all of the calls, US and Canada, all through our US support system. We have live agents, all based in the States. We never throw calls overseas. They're going to get a human voice picking up the call. We're going to take their information. We're going to start running with the problem. We're going to be giving updates as the issue comes to resolution. And then after, we're going to get an RFO, reason for outage for our client, maybe 80–85% of the time. We can truly pinpoint what the issue was. And if it's something that's repeatable, we want to fix that. If it's a pole that keeps getting hit, we want to get the fiber off of that pole. If it's a conduit that keeps flooding and shorting things out, let's get that conduit fixed. Let's really use these RFO as a tool for greater uptime and customer satisfaction. So, APX up in Canada, we have fulfilled all our Canadian requirements, and that is not an easy task. A couple of years of work to get certified, to get the tax paperwork through in all the different provinces and territories across the country, partnering with a CPA firm up there. What we did find was a lot of American companies that sell service in Canada incorrectly tax. They overtax the end client to cover themselves and charge extra fees and services to cover themselves or maybe even generate revenue. We've partnered with the best CPA firm for telecom taxes up in Canada. We're going to invoice your customer correctly. So just a few of our carriers. We are an aggregator, and we have spent the last 5 years really building relationships with our Canadian partners, from Bell to Rogers, Shaw's, and many more, and then around 23 regional smaller carriers in different territories across the country. We are able to find fiber and provision fiber pretty much anywhere that you have a customer looking for. Our biggest partner is Bell. They have a strong coverage across. They were Ma Bell for many years. They have access into different cities and a lot of good transport down into the States. Bell can be a little unique. Sometimes they'll quote things and they don't always come up with the construction costs, and we have to push them. Once construction costs are identified, we have such strong buying power with Bell now that we're able to eliminate or severely reduce the amount of construction costs by incorporating that in other orders that we're provisioning that month with them. Rogers is like the Comcast down here in the States. They are the cable co in Canada. They are very strong across. There are smaller cable cos too, but Rogers is the largest, and they are growing with acquisition. But we have redundancy options a lot of the time, broadband options, just like we would have in the States, able to deliver to you. Shaw's is the other larger cable co in Canada that is in the process of being acquired by Rogers, but again, they have good access into buildings, especially redundant to Bell, and we have a very strong buy relationship with them. Telus network, they're strong, especially in the long haul market down into the States. We have great success getting down into Ashburn, Hudson, Cermak, all the major Seattle and LA data centers that we need to reach. If you need connectivity point to point, we have a lot of different carriers up in Canada that buy from us and buy for connectivities down into the States. So a couple quick case studies. APX really focuses on that multi-site opportunity for our clients. Being able to deliver a single invoice, one project management team, one client service team, one invoice to pay monthly is a big focus here at APXNet. This is one of the largest agriculture companies in the US and Canada. They're pretty much like the GE of the farming world. They are located in every province and state pretty much across the North America. They did an awesome case study on our website if you want to read and learn a little bit more about their decision, not just on the carrier side, but on the SD internet side, moving to the cloud, and why they picked APXNet. But we could do 60 plus of their locations, 50 megs of DIA at all of their sites. So we gave them a flat rate for the same price at all their locations. And that's a huge win for their accounting department and for their regional managers to all be paying the same. What this customer loves to talk about, and I'm incredibly proud of, is they sent the contract to us on Thursday. Friday morning, he came into work and one of his regional managers called him and said, hey, someone's here trying to do a site survey for APXNet. Should I let him into the building? This customer needed connectivity fast. We had boots on the ground within 24 hours for him. We had 6 sites installed, up and running, passing traffic within 14 days. They have renewed all their contracts with us, and it's a true partnership, true teamwork. And in 3+ years of being with us, they've never had a billing mistake that they needed a credit issued on. Quite proud of that too. National hotel chains. We have a few that operate both here and in the States. And again, it's really being able to have that one point of contact to help provision. A lot of the IT folks here in the States don't even know where to start up in Canada. Or they might have Bell or they might have Rogers, but they don't know of any other opportunities or other fiber providers, and really how to start that process. By having APX as their partner, we are outsourcing it. We know the contracts and carriers to work with, enabling them to light up their hotels across the US and Canada. One invoice, one point of contact, consolidated billing. Really proud of the work, and there's a couple different national hotel chains, but they don't come to us with billing mistakes either. Rural Canada. So we have a few large energy consortiums. One in particular that this one that is designed around is out of Italy, and they need remote connectivity. They're into hydro, wind, and solar. These locations are usually not in a downtown environment. Sometimes it's a $10,000 build, sometimes it's $1 million build. We will find them and get them connectivity pretty much anywhere in North America that they need to reach. In Canada, once you get up a little bit more north, it's more the oil and shale industry that we're providing connectivity to. But some of these are pretty remote locations, but they're willing to invest to get the connectivity there. And then we start to work with local and state governments that might help offset some of those costs for any permits that we might need, for any First Nation land that we might need to traverse. We really work on getting the connectivity where they need to go. Really managing that large complex build, making sure it's coming in within budget, and delivering dedicated internet to these wind farms, solar, or hydro power stations. We have one of the largest insurance companies in the world. Pretty much everyone on this call has insurance with them, if they know it or not, from their phones to their appliances. They cover the world, and they were really looking for redundancy at all their locations. They were looking for one point of contact and really higher end speeds at their locations. APX could deliver it in the States, delivered it up in Canada, and built this partnership that when they grow, we grow right with them. The opportunities come to us first. We simplify their network, we simplify the ordering process in this very large organization, and the process that to interact with them, we simplify it for them too. Never had a billing mistake with us. I'll take a quick sip. Sourcing up in Canada. So you have an opportunity. How can we maximize that for you? How can we generate revenue for you? Single sites are a lot like here in the States. A lot of the time we can quote those within the day, within a one-day turnaround, or worst case 24-hour turnaround. There are sites that you start to get a little bit more remote that we want to fine tune if there's any construction costs. I will say that the Canadian carriers are quick to quote and not quick to peel back how close the fiber is, and if there's going to be any construction costs. So there are times that we're going to take a little bit longer to turn around that quote, but please be reassured that we are doing our due diligence and our homework, because there's nothing worse than the opportunity for you to go out and earn a customer. It might take a few months to earn that opportunity. They give you an order, you go to provision it, and a month or two later it comes back with too high of construction costs. Everyone is a loser in that chain. We want to make sure it's correct up front, make sure you're providing information that's correct to your contacts here in the States or the contacts up in Canada. You know, what we found is some metro markets are a little bit more aggressive than others. In some areas, it's actually more aggressive than here in the States. And as we start to move out, you start to really question some of the costs that come back. Businesses up there pay the higher prices in remote. It seems to be a normal business for them. So when you see a higher quote come out, don't be scared of it. They've probably already seen it or worse. So we are aggressive, and you know, compared to the States, sometimes it's going to be cheaper, sometimes it's going to be a little bit more. We provision everything here in the States, all part of one team. So if you have a client that has locations in the States and Canada, they're going to be dealing with the same project management. There isn't two teams for project management, US and Canada. There is not two teams for our NOC or our billing. It's all one, and we can communicate to our clients as one because of that. Customer service, we handle all that communication. Again, US and Canada, it's one call. You're never going to be transferred around and get lost in the transfer. We're going to take the call, we're going to own it, we're going to move it forward for you. So a little bit more about the US side of the house, because the US drives a lot of the business up in Canada, especially for us. Our two largest partners are AT&T and Verizon. And when I say Verizon, I mean very much Ma Bell Verizon. Yes, WorldCom side of Verizon strong, but we have a great relationship with Ma Bell Verizon. Please think of us for any sites inside the US. We have access to all the major carriers, of course, throughout the US, and then a lot of the smaller carriers throughout the US. So we can really deliver to a multi-site customer with US and Canada locations, one point of stop. Kind of wrap it up a little bit. Why APXNet? We really want to, you know, the ability to generate more opportunity, more revenues for you. A lot of the times they get passed up on the Canadian stuff, or frustration develops when you can't get a carrier to respond to you. We will eliminate that for you. We have access to all the US and Canada carriers that you can imagine, and ones that you've never heard of or probably would never do business with. Type 1 circuits only. Spend more time selling is what we say. Have happier customers, less time following troubles, less time dealing with carriers. We're going to take it, we're going to get it up and running, and it's going to have the lowest latency and lowest drop time possible. We are a agent-focused company. We work with 3 or 4 of the largest masters across the US. We have a very aggressive commission plan. If you want a direct program, please reach out to us. And if you meet the criteria, we will more than willing to give you a direct relationship, or you could work with one of the masters. We pay full commission on loop and port. We do not separate that. So our aggressive commission is on the whole circuit, not just part of the circuit like other carriers do. Expert engineering and project management. When I say we take the order and run with it, I mean it. From the time that you hand us an order, within 24 hours, our project management team has talked to the end client and either receive the information we need from them or have a firm time for a call so we can receive that information. We want to provision these properly. We're going to take it. We're going to run with it. We're not going to ask much of our agents in the process. One simple, awesome, accurate invoice for US and Canada. 30 years in this industry, where do businesses and the carriers fail the most? Customer service and billing. Is there anything worse than spending months and months and months fighting with carriers to get invoices corrected, and then the money and taxes and fees that were charged incorrectly returned to them? We eliminate that for our agents. We eliminate that for our end clients. We eliminate that problems for our staff here. We make it right. And the phrase that was used earlier when the call started, APX is the best kept secret in the channel. That is from Net7. They were our agent partner of the year last year. They did not sell the most with us. What they did was sell really win-win relationship, a lot of partnership, a lot of diving into how we can best service this client together. And it wasn't just about price, it was about solution. Great group of guys and folks over there. And they came back and said, hey, APX is the best kept secret in the channel. One of the largest masters in the country we've been doing work with for years. They put out a report. What I'm most proud of isn't just how much revenue is passing hands, but how many escalations. In the last 3 years, 0 escalations from subs having to go to Telus complaining about an invoice, commission, quality of service, responsiveness. 0 escalations, and that's what I'm most proud of. Here in the APXNet. Contacts, how can you reach us? Kelly Donnell is on this call with us. She will be the primary point of contact. If you already work with us, then you know who to contact internally. But if you want to start a conversation, please reach out to Kelly. My name, Jeff Wood. It is Jeff Wood. You can reach me also. Please feel free with any questions or comments or anything that I might be able to help with. Please check out our website. We have a lot of great information out there about APXNet, a lot of our clientele, the verticals that we go after. We are different. I'm really proud of it. And we want to service you and your end clients with the proper customer service and network that they deserve.
Thank you so much, Jeff. That was a great presentation. And you know what, we got a bunch of questions here. I'm excited to kind of jump right in. Again, be sure to visit APXNet and on the web. All right, there you go. Let's dip into the mailbag if we can. One person wants to know in particular, and there are a bunch, by the way, about what's in it for partners, but obviously you kind of delved into that. Regarding type 1, will APXNet build or trench where no facilities are already in place? Would there be a wireless loop for that last mile?
Yes, we would trench if it's an underground and need trenching. If it's aerial, we'll get poles put in. We stay away from the wireless. Honestly, that's not a product we sell. We don't sell last mile wireless or DIA wireless. So everything is a fiber-based, dedicated fiber that we offer.
Okay, very good. You mentioned the single invoice in particular, how it helps APX to kind of stand out. What else makes it unique?
What else makes us stand out?
I assume that they mean in regards to the single invoice.
Yeah. Well, first off, it's incredibly easy to understand. We really make it simplified by location or by circuits on the invoice. We put the customer's name on it, location name, address, circuit ID, really giving them the information about that location, all in one spot in one location. And then we associate the taxes and fees that are associated with that within that service for the customer. So it's not just one large tax, it's not one large lump of fees. They can really break it out internally in their system, how they need it to cost account internally. We put the name of the location, maybe a job code on it, how they want it broken up is how we can deliver it for them.
Okay. And you mentioned during the presentation that you could kind of service anyone. How important is that degree of personalization to the company?
How important
is that degree of personal, that one-to-one touch?
Yeah, I mean, with our partners, every partner has a little bit different requirements. Sometimes that one-on-one touch is with our partner, and they really want to be the one controlling the relationship with the end client. That's fine. We'll work very close with that partner to make sure they're getting the resources that they need to fulfill that customer's wants and needs. Some agents want us to run with it and really take that relationship and own it. We're different because our team doesn't really leave our organization. So it's the same name, same people they've been communicating with for 5 years or 10 years stay in place. And I really think that is unique about us too. We take incredibly good care of our employees here. It's really still a family environment as much as you can with people spread out across the country. But by making it an enjoyable place to work, making our clients happy, we don't get unhappy calls here. We're not getting to screaming and yelling, and we obviously don't allow screaming and yelling, so we wouldn't want it from our partners. But really being able to communicate, having an open line. It's not a call center. It's not a email box that you're not quite sure who's working on it. You have the phone number, you have the email, you have that way of communicating with us. I know that separates us. I know that's why we have almost perfect retention on our clients. We've had clients for 12 years that are still with us that maybe we hear from once every 3 years at most.
Oh, very good. Somebody wants to know how long it would actually take to get the pricing back.
Honestly, it can be within a couple hours to get it back to you. It really depends on the site and the amount of work. Is it lit or not lit? Are we looking for redundancy? Are we looking for SD internet? And SD internet just takes a little bit longer sometimes to confirm the two carriers are redundant from each other. But I mean, honestly, I can turn around pricing within 3 or 4 hours some days, and sometimes it might take a week because there's a little bit more involved to the build. And then a lot of the times in Canada we'll get a build cost, and then if we really peel it back and work with them and look at other jobs we're doing, we might get it cut in half. So we really take a couple of extra days to understand why and how and what is driving the cost, and is there a way we can reduce it.
Okay, obviously there's a lot that kind of goes into that. Kind of along the same lines, what's the turnaround time? Will an order be placed like immediately once the contract is signed? Yeah,
we again, as long as we can get the information that is needed, but usually within 24 hours of receiving a contract, we have placed that order with the underlying carrier. I'm not kidding when I say on average in a lit building, I'm going to use AT&T here in the States, we're about 2 to 3 weeks. Rogers, a lit building, we're about 3 weeks. Bell, lit building, we're about 3 to 4 weeks. Our goal is to get this in as fast as possible. From a business side, yeah, we want to generate the revenue. We understand that. But from the customer side, they might be trying to reduce costs, and they want to reduce that cost as soon as possible. Or probably in these days, it's much more, I need the bandwidth. I have an application I'm bringing online. I'm moving to a new cloud provider. I need bandwidth. And then really the goal is to get that bandwidth to them as fast as possible so they can run their application and roll out what they're trying to do on an IT side of the house.
Okay. In terms of support, is there a dedicated project manager?
Yes. Every account will get a dedicated project manager. We have a great team here. They've been here for a while. They know how to move things forward. And I will also say we really invest in the relationship on project management, not just on our side, but on the carrier side, building a true relationship with them. A lot of the time you only see the front salesperson and you place an order and then it moves past that. We take the time to work directly with project management, making sure they do lunch and learns with us, making sure that they get the cool stuff too, that the salespeople get sent to them, really appreciating the work that they do, the hands-on. So when we do reach out and say, hey, this customer waited too long, they should have ordered this sooner, I'm in a bind, can you do me a favor? That they're willing to reach out to that local engineer to say, hey, I need to bump up this work order a little bit. These guys are good guys.
Okay, and about how long would the average installation take?
If it's lit up in Canada, I like to say about 4 to 6 weeks, just to be safe. And then if there's a construction build, it really depends. Yeah, we're doing one that's over $1 million in construction to get up to a Shell oil field. Shell. Sand, not Shell, the oil company. That's going to be 9 months. It's 9 months, but it's a huge build. So it really depends on the project that we're looking at.
Okay. One last question that just kind of came in, and I think it's a really good one. If you could repeat, we talk about what used to be known as master agencies. What ones are you affiliated with again, and for service quoting and order procurement?
Yeah, in Telus, AppSmart. I'm not done. There's two more. Upstack on their acquisition spree that they're on, and TCG.
All right, very good. Jeff, any kind of closing thoughts as we look to bring this home?
Well, it's a great way to earn extra revenue moving into the Canadian market. I know that we can help propel that forward for you. We can meet your clients' needs, and at the end of the day, it's meeting their needs, what is most important. Do what's best for the customer, do what's best for the company, and then do what's best for self. And that's what we really prosper around here and promote. For our employees, for our customers, and for our agents.
All right, I think that's a great.
Together.
Cool. I think that's a great 1, 2, 3 punch there. So I think that's also going to do it for this webinar. Thank you, Jeff Wood, of course, APX's president of sales. Thank you for the time today, Jeff.
Thank you very much. We're excited to do more work up in Canada with folks.
For sure. And you guys are keeping very busy. Again, visit apxnet.com. Before we go, I also want to remind you guys that by attending this webinar here today, you're automatically enrolled in the Channel Vision Webinar Rewards Program. You may have already won one of our monthly drawings. For information on the program and to see what kind of prizes you could win, be sure to visit our website, which is channelvisionmag.com/webinar-rewards. And remember, you can access this webinar as well as all of the other great Channel Vision presentations and content and all that on demand just by going to our website, which is channelvisionmag.com. So from all of us here at Channel Vision Magazine to our friends at APX Net, of course, the president of sales, Jeff Wood, thank you for attending. And of course, have a great, safe, prosperous day. Take care.
Thank you very much.